Good morning, Charles. How are you?
All right, Dan, how are you? I'm still sick, still a little sick fighting this cold I've had for what feels like 3 weeks.
Yeah, wow. What have you been doing to try to work on that?
Just sleep and Dayquil and NyQuil, really, not much else.
Okay. All right.
Just trying to sleep and trying to treat the symptoms as I can.
That's stuff from that New York trip, huh?
Yeah, seems like it. I first had symptoms, I want to say, was it last Tuesday, last Tuesday or Wednesday. So definitely week and a half easy.
Okay.
And it is not it's not fun. A lot of congestion, a lot of drippy noses. Stuff is no good.
Yeah. Side note, you sound a little bit quiet, a little bit far from the mic, maybe.
Oh, okay. I will try to get up on it, as they say.
Yeah, you definitely. Yeah.
Actually, I'll just hold it.
Oh, there you go. Wow. Yeah. There you go. That works.
Okay. Cool.
Much better.
So dealing. Yeah, my voice is my volume's a little low, probably too, because my throat feels a little strained. So there's that as well.
Yeah, there you go.
But
much better now.
I have been trying to when I have the available energy, I've been trying to get my steps in. And yesterday was a big day. I was doing some work around my place and went for 2 walks, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And let's see, I pulled away with, going into my app, something like 25,000 steps yesterday.
Holy cow, man.
It was a big day. Yeah.
That's like an amusement park for the day.
Exactly.
I get up close to that, at the amusement parks, usually not around the house. So you must have been busy.
Yeah, it was a busy day yesterday, and it took a little bit of a toll. Had some sore quads from all that walking, and I was dead. I slept like a baby though last night, which is good because I had to wake up at 5 this morning as I usually do.
Yeah, I usually find I sleep much better if I've spent some time outside during the day. Significant amount
for sure.
Even if I'm not exercising, even if I'm just sitting like outdoor cafes and stuff, just for some reason just being outside. Even if I'm not really active, even just like lying on the beach, I end up sleeping like a baby that night.
Yeah, I would say I've noticed that as well. I've been hearing a lot of and seen a lot on Twitter from Andrew Huberman about the importance of getting that early morning sunlight. He
is a preacher for that. I mean, every other word out of his mouth is something about getting that early morning sunlight, but there's something to it.
Yeah, and apparently if you wake up before sunrise, in that case, he just wants you to put on as much electrical or artificial light as you have access to, like as soon as you wake up, because I guess it prompts your body to manufacture cortisol, which we often think of as just a bad thing, but I guess when it comes to waking up in the morning and getting energized and alert, cortisol is exactly what you want.
Yeah. What I've learned about cortisol, I thought that too, was just, avoid it at all costs. And I used to take supplements to like kill it and stuff like that. But no, you just want it at certain times, and you want it. Right. And where people run into problems is when it's high all the time. You want it lower so you can sleep. You want it high for that alertness, and basically activity and things like that. Right. So that's something to think about in terms of, again, balancing your circadian rhythm, balancing, same thing with like working out too, is, the idea is you want to exert yourself as much as possible, but then as soon as you're done, you want to kick into that relaxation state. Right. And Huberman actually also talks about specific breathing protocols that you can do even in between sets when you're working out, or right after you're done with whatever workout you're doing, in terms of, kicking in the parasympathetic nervous system. And I always get confused between the sympathetic and parasympathetic.
Yeah, me too.
But I think of parasympathetic, right, I think of a parachute, where it's a gentle kind of coming down, right? Yeah. And that's how I remember the body, the systems in your body that are parasympathetic are the ones that relax you. And that's
interesting.
And brings you down. So that's my little tip on how to remember that. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I was, I've got this new app on my phone that I'm trying out. I'm just using the free version of it. It's called Rise Sleep, and it interacts with the Apple Health information that my Apple Watch picks up. And every day it tells me, based on the time that I slept last night, when my melatonin window is, when I should try to go to sleep tonight based on the sleep that I had last night. And I've not done anything with that information except look at it pop up on my phone and think, oh, that's interesting.
That's interesting. I can't go to bed right now.
Exactly.
I'm not ready for bed. Yeah.
Right.
The Whoop does that too, but my Whoop but I did the same thing. It's just like, what? I need to go to bed at 6:30 because I don't sleep great. I'm still working on it, but like sometimes it's like, in order to get the 85% recovery, whatever you want, it's really early sometimes. And I'm just like, whoa, can't do that. Sorry, not tonight.
No, yeah. Too much life going on. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So I had my first merengue lesson on Monday night.
Oh, fantastic.
It's not an easy dance for me. Jeannie and Victoria both talk about it as being like the easiest Latin dance to learn.
I've heard that as well.
Because all you're really doing is a 1-2 count with your feet, just step, 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 step. And there's a lot of room for flexibility and improvisation, and I hate both of those things. It's like that's why I was
structure and order.
Yeah. I was partial to the foxtrot, and I feel like I would probably enjoy waltzing for that same reason, where there's a bit more of there's rules for this is what you're allowed to do, this is what you're not allowed to do. And with merengue, it's a bit more open, but yeah, I did miss the first class, so we popped in for week 2 was our week 1. And I was able to sort of get up to speed on what they did the first week pretty quickly. It wasn't too complex. And I feel like having gone through classes before, you can kind of miss a week and not feel like you're too far left behind.
Yep.
But it's going to be a challenge. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's for me more than 2 weeks, and it's a problem. 2 weeks at 2 weeks when I've missed 2 weeks in a row, it's a problem. So,
right. Sure.
Yeah. So, we're doing the foxtrot, and even that is where there is structure and there is rules. And it was one of the easier, routines to remember for the graduation. But, we need to practice. It's a night and day difference. Just trying to practice what the different steps as part of the routine, just doing that. And I realized, I was making excuses to not do it because I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it wrong and then get into bad habits and stuff like that. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It's cause like, so I have to just suck it up and do it. Just clear some furniture out of the living room and do it, or go out in the driveway and do it. And just for the brain memory to remember, okay, this, then this, then this. And when I've done that, and very few times, it's made the next class so much better because I'm not playing catch up. It's not like, trying to pick my brain and go, wait a minute, what happened? What did we do last week? Because it's such new movements, that muscle memory isn't there. Never mind the memory either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I joke with Victoria every time I go to class because I don't ever do any practice between. I was like, she tells me we did this last week. I was like, no, we didn't. I don't remember any of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same way. Yeah. They'll throw, and the problem is too, is there's a lot of terms, very specific terminology and vocabulary that we don't use on our daily basis. And so, it's like, what is this again? She's like, oh, it's the underarm backside, double flip turn. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Come on, I'm like, we did this last week.
Yeah. Inside turn and outside turn, I've still never really caught on.
Right.
What inside of what? Outside of what? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's a great point.
All right. So let's see what else is going on. Halloween's over. Had a good time meeting you guys down in downtown Winter Garden. That was fun.
Yeah.
Not a ton of adults dressed up, but the 4 of us were.
Well, so right. What happened? So afterwards, we were just a little bit early. So we.
Oh, is that what it was?
We hung out a little bit later. We went upstairs to the whole enchilada and had a couple drinks up there and hung out. And ironically, like 3 people came in that were like kind of half dressed, and were like, "Hey," they lean over to us and they go, "Do you notice no other adults are dressed here?" And we're like, "Yeah, we noticed that too." 2 of them looked like they were, like stagehands for theater shows, because they just had a black shirt and jeans on. So it looks like they had a costume on, but were probably so embarrassed that they didn't have anybody. They couldn't see anybody. They took it off. Another girl, all she had was an M&M shirt on, and she, obviously she couldn't take that off. But then, more and more people started to show up. Like every other group that came up there had a costume on. And then our little section would applaud if they had a costume on, because there weren't many of us. But eventually it filled up after a couple of hours. There was some more people that, had some pretty good costumes, actually.
Yeah, that's the thing with Halloween for grown-ups. Like, I'm sure if we went to that original party we were talking about that started at 9 and went to midnight, a lot of people probably would have had a couple drinks and a couple costumes. And so, but showing up as a grown-up someplace at, 5:30, 6 o'clock in costume is, the grown-ups with kids are out trick-or-treating with them.
Yep.
And then they got to put them to bed, or, hire the babysitter and then go out.
But you know what? I liked it because I got a lot of nice smiles. I got a couple of chuckles and stuff when they walk by, people and stuff. So it was, it was nice, and it wasn't that weird because it was close enough to Halloween.
Right.
Do you get any trick or treaters at the campground?
No, we were at on an actual Halloween night, Monday night, we were at the dance lesson from 7 to 8, and then driving back from about 8 to 9, maybe a little bit later. And so we may have just missed them. So we left our place with all the lights off and stuff. And I don't know if because the campground we're at right now, the one I lived in DeBerry, there were a lot of long timers there. And the one that I'm at now, closer to Disney, it's mostly tourists. They're just there for, a couple weeks, a weekend, a month, not people that are living month after month. So I doubt. And there's one family with kids. I think 2 or 3 episodes ago we were recording, and I saw one of the kids running by my window naked. And
that's right. I remember.
That's really the only family with kids that is staying over there. I haven't seen any other kids. Yeah, the streakers. Other than that, I haven't seen any other streakers. I'm sure they're nice. I did go for a swim in the campground swimming pool the other day because we were doing some work on the RVs, including electrical work. So it was like hers had been completely shut off, no power, no AC, no nothing, and we were doing some work on it. And then at the end of that, I was like, "All right, I'm really hot. Let's go jump in the pool."
Nice.
And but it's weird when it's really hot during the day, but it gets fairly cool at night and the pool is not heated. That water was cold. I mean, it was probably 86 or 87 degrees air temperature, but getting in that pool water that had to be low 70s, it felt like it was low 40s. It was so cold.
Were you looking for your polar bear club t-shirt?
I was looking for everything. I had stuff that was disappearing because it was so cold.
Huberman says it's good for you, the cold water. So yeah, I mean, you were the one preaching the cold showers and everything, right?
Yeah, and you get used to it eventually, but it's still, compared to dipping in a Disney hotel pool where they keep it at a cool 84 degrees all the time.
That's nuts. Yeah,
nothing feels quite that good. Even on a hot day, a fairly warm swimming pool is pretty nice. So, All right. So let's see what else is going on. Oh, I'm 44 days out from my cruise now, so I'm able to check in and get already on the Royal Caribbean app. I'm looking forward to that. It's been a long time since I've been on a cruise since I went on my birthday cruise with you guys.
Oh my gosh, that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was, I believe that was probably November of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 19. I thought it might have been 18.
It might have been 18. Yeah. It was 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go on another one. This one's going to Haiti, and it's on, I think, their biggest class of ship. So I'm excited about that.
Nice. Is it how many days?
5 days, 4 nights.
Okay. That's nice. It's a nice amount of time. I'm usually done about that point. I'm like, all right, I'm
yeah.
good.
Yeah. It leaves on a Sunday, I believe, and we get back on Wednesday morning.
Okay.
So it's sort of an interesting schedule, but I'll buy the internet package. So if I need to deal with anything on Monday, Tuesday, let's see, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I guess Thursday it gets back. Sunday.
We should record. We should do a podcast from both.
We might be able to do that. Might be able to pull that off. That could be fun. Yeah, but other than that, I don't have any travel for the rest of the year. So I'm going to try to take it easy. And I mean, I'll probably change my mind on that. But right now I'm sick and tired all the time. So I feel like I don't want to travel anywhere or do anything.
Yeah. Don't make any decisions in the state for sure. Yeah. Just rest up. I tend to do that while I'm starting to fall asleep or, taking a nap or whatever. And sometimes, I've got these things running through my head and I try to figure stuff out because they're running through my head. And then I just need to talk myself down and go, look, you're not going to make a good decision at this point. You're not going to be happy with it. You're not in the state of mind where you want to be making, potentially life-changing decisions.
Right.
So and it frustrates me because I'm like, freaking tired again, So, it's always worked out better when I've actually let myself focus on sleep. That's, and resting, and then trying to make decisions from a fresh state of mind.
Yeah. Yesterday, the day before, I finally put my new duvet cover on my bed, and man, this one's fancy. It's I got it off Amazon. It's Egyptian cotton, I think 600 or 800 thread count. And not only does it have ties for my duvet in the corners, it's got a tie in the middle. And that's how I know that I've arrived. I've got, I've got a very and it's got a zipper on it too, instead of buttons, which is good because when I wash my duvet covers and they have buttons, the buttons always get undone in the washing machine and other clothes get into the duvet cover. And then when I put it in the dryer, the stuff that's in the middle of the duvet cover never gets completely dry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now I can zip it closed and I don't have to worry about that. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm trying to take pleasure in the small things since I don't have my health.
Solving all those first world problems. It's fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah. It might not be a 1%er problem, but it's certainly a 10%er problem. Dealing with washing and drying duvets.
Yes.
For the majority of our listeners, a duvet is not that thing that washes your butt after you use the bathroom. That's a bidet. A duvet it's like a blanket, and a duvet covers the blanket that goes around the blanket. It's like a blanket sandwich. All right. So, all right, Dan, we were gonna continue our deep dive into the 4 agreements, but then I
disagreed with all 4, so exactly. we're decided to move on.
I agree with all 4 of them, but I finished listening to the entire book this week.
Yeah,
and I was like, it's good stuff, but there is a lot of it is repeated from the introduction, and I felt like if you and I tried to spend an episode on every one of the agreements, we would basically just be doing a longer version of what you and I put out last week.
Yeah.
And there may not be enough value there for our listeners to hang with us. So I said, let's just let that introduction episode kind of stand on its own. And if there's really nothing in between that intro episode we did and just reading the book. So if,
I mean, the book fleshes it out a little bit more. I do like a lot of the message that it sends. And I think there's a lot of good rules to live by, or, principles to try to incorporate into your life. What I would want to see, and we could probably look into this a little bit more, is, some a little bit more practical applications of, some of the agreements, in terms of, your daily life and walking through different scenarios and saying, okay, this is how you would be impeccable with your word in this case, right. Or this is,
Yeah, it just occurred to me that you and I essentially had a plan to do 5 hours of content on an audiobook that lasts 2 hours and 10 minutes. So,
well, I mean, if anybody can do it, it's us for sure. Because 3/4 of that is going to be about
dancing and pickleball.
Yeah, pretty much.
Being sick, I have had to delay my getting to pickleball, and you're going to be on vacation a week from today, so
right.
It doesn't look like we'll be able to continue the pickleball revolution until early December, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely down for that. Did you get your pickleball shoes and everything? Are you all
I got
equipped?
I got my Nike court shoes that are made for tennis technically, but I think will work very well for pickleball.
Yep.
I got my excuse me, my 2-pack of rackets and the 4 balls that came with it. And I joined a bunch of pickleball groups on Facebook, so I'm seeing people talking about it all the time, and I'm starting to get targeted ads for paddles and balls and shoes and all this nonsense. And I'm not able to buy any of that stuff because I'm not able to get out there and play. But
I definitely want to take more lessons.
Yeah, I definitely want to go and take another 101 class over there in Daytona.
Yeah.
And then there's also one in the Maitland area, I believe. That one costs $25, but I'm still going to probably do that just to get, just to get exposure to a different coach who teaches things a different way and see, what else I can learn.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw that there's going to be a primetime special, a celebrity pickleball tournament on, I think, CBS.
Oh,
apparently Stephen Colbert is big into pickleball, and he's got a bunch of celebrities that also play pickleball. They're going to have
that sounds like a fun thing I'm having to watch for sure.
I know, absolutely.
Colbert's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So
funny.
Yeah, it was posted in one of the pickleball groups that I'm in, and it immediately devolved into people who either love or hate Stephen Colbert's politics, and they started just arguing about politics, and because that's what Facebook is now.
Yes.
It's like whatever the topic is, somebody's going to introduce politics, and then everybody else is not going to let it be about anything except politics. That's
unfortunate. I mean, it's just, I'm so over it. I really am.
I am too. I long for the days of, I'm jealous of what they used to call, or I guess they still do, low information voters. People don't really pay attention to politics and just don't watch the news, and then they just show up on election day and vote based on how they like the sound of somebody's name. It's like I simultaneously despise those people, but I'm also envious of them.
the ignorance is bliss crowd. Yeah,
exactly. It really.
I've been gravitating more towards that every day. And I am happier for sure.
Yeah, because I am not ignorant, and I am certainly not blissful. And, it does make me wish, if I could just not care about any of that stuff. And did you vote? Oh, was that yesterday? Oh, I forgot.
Oh, well,
yeah,
so
I saw something recently about the way that there's a high correlation, not causation, between intelligence and depression. Like the smarter you are, the more depressed you are. And
really,
yeah, I could definitely see reasons that would be true. I don't consider myself to be a depressed person by any means. I'm pretty, of all the mental health issues that I occasionally do struggle with, as many of us do, depression is not one of them for me. But I could definitely see how the smarter, more aware people among us, would have a tendency to be more pessimistic about the future.
Yeah. It's tough because, you have to filter through a lot of unsettling information, to pull out what you need and what you don't. And it's a lot of stuff on the news and stories about puppy rescues, So.
I was just thinking about the same thing, though. MSNBC and Fox News aren't making that money by talking about firefighter rescues kitten from tree. That's right. That's not. It's like no. It's does your neighbor secretly want you dead? Those are the kinds of stories that people tune in for.
Oh, geez. So,
all right. So we've abandoned going further in depth on the 4 agreements. It's a good book. If you like what we had to say in the intro, then by all means, pick up the book on Audible, or even, get a copy for your e-reader, or check it out from the library. It's a quick read or a quick listen, that's for sure. But we're just not going to spend more time on it. We're going to instead talk a little bit about the lead up to New Year's and New Year's resolutions. And Dan has this wealth of experience in the tiny habits arena, and we're going to exploit that for the next few weeks, talking about what people can do to start laying the groundwork for some changes that they would like to make that would coincide with their New Year's resolution, if they have one. You'll remember last year I had 2 New Year's resolutions. One was to switch to black coffee and to learn to like tomatoes. And one of those, the black coffee thing, I actually started like a day or 2 before Christmas.
Okay.
And I've never looked back. It's been, I've occasionally gotten, a latte here or there, or a cappuccino, but as far as my regular coffee, I have not bought creamer or used creamer at the gas station or Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks in almost a year now. I have switched completely to black coffee, and it was one of the easiest for as much as coffee as I drink. It's something I'm exposed to multiple times a day, every day, and it was one of the easiest changes I've ever made in my life. I just decided I'm going to appreciate the taste of black coffee because I think there's value in that. The main thing was the convenience. Like if you are addicted to coffee with creamer, then you have to constantly worry about, where am I going to get the creamer? How am I going to keep it cold? If I go to somebody's house for coffee, do I need to bring the creamer with me? And I was just like, you know what? It's too much work. I can figure out a way to like coffee without inconveniencing myself. And sure enough, 99% of the work was just making the decision, and 1% was actually implementing it.
Yeah. Wow. So what, I guess my question for you is, what, did something happen where you were it just really kind of set you off or motivated you to make that change? Because I can understand being inconvenient to not have the creamer around, but I guess, yeah, if you're having a lot of coffee, and you're traveling a lot, yeah, I guess it could be a real pain, for almost every day or multiple times a day. So I guess that could be a strong enough. I'm looking for the why, right? I'm looking for what motivated you to take that step.
Well, okay. So a couple things. I have, we were just talking about my upcoming cruise. I love a cup of coffee after dinner a lot. And I also love coffee in the morning with breakfast a lot. And so, when I would go on cruises, and I also have this very slight dairy allergy where if I have, milk or cheese or something like that, I get very mild cold symptoms. And so, it wasn't enough when we would go on cruises to just have was usually, half and half or milk, first thing in the morning or last thing at night. And I've got those cold symptoms. So I would have to take my little Coffee Mate creamers onto the ship with me, because non-dairy creamer, Coffee Mate Original was my go-to. That was my favorite. In lieu of that, heavy cream, but heavy cream you have to refrigerate, where the little Coffee Mate things, the little individual ones, you don't have to. So I would take those on the boat with me. And then my girlfriend has always been a black coffee drinker. And so spending a lot of time with her, I would see how much easier her life was, where she could just have black coffee everywhere we went, and not have to worry about the, okay, do you have heavy cream? Oh, you don't have heavy cream. Okay, do you have original Coffee Mate? Oh, you have original Coffee Mate, but it's the powder instead of the liquid. I don't really like the powder. It was just a lot of hassle I was putting myself through.
Right, and then being congested like at night,
exactly
affected sleep.
Exactly.
Right? So wow. That's amazing. That little, what seemingly seems like a little change had such a big impact on multiple areas of your life.
Yeah. And it was so easy to just make the choice of, all right, I'm just going to have black coffee. And, I did kind of, when I was growing up, it was a lot of cream, a lot of sugar. And as I got older, then that switched to flavored creamer. And then as I got older still, it switched to just the original plain creamer. And then I would start putting less and less of it in my coffee. And so, it was like, okay, finally I'm ready to just get rid of it entirely. And yeah, I have not looked back. It makes things so much easier. When you fill up like a Yeti or I use mostly Ozark Trail tumblers, the cheap version of Yeti you get from Walmart for $7. You fill it up with black coffee and you don't cool it down by putting, refrigerated milk or creamer or anything in. It stays hot for so much longer. I mean, like literally I could get in my car at 1:00 this afternoon to drive home from my client, and my coffee will still be hot enough to drink like hot coffee. But if you put creamer in, you don't have that flexibility. Absolutely not. Either it's going to cool it down, or you got to worry about, is this going to make me sick?
Yeah. And I mean, it really goes to show, that even the smallest little change can have profound impacts throughout your life that you're just maybe not even aware of, that you don't even realize. I mean, it sounds like in this case, you kind of knew a lot of the inconveniences and felt it that way, but that's a small little thing. And did you just go cold turkey? Just like at one point you're like, I'm just going to stop using it, or did you just kind of cut back on it little by little, or how did you
like I said, it was a couple days before Christmas, and I just I think I first mentioned it on the podcast like almost in real time. Like I hadn't even decided on it, and then it just came up in one of the things we were talking about on the podcast, and then I just instantly made that decision of, when I run out of my current bottle of liquid creamer, I'm just not going to buy any more. And I never have. One of the other things, another good reason to make the change, and this occurred to me after the fact, was, one of the biggest sort of fitness hacks that, when you first look into the idea of trying to lose some weight, one of the things you're going to hear from all sorts of coaches on the internet, on YouTube, on whatever, is going to be, don't drink your calories. Don't spend your time drinking soda, drinking milkshakes, drinking fruit juice. Just drink water, drink iced tea. And some of them may say, if you need some diet soda, you can drink some diet soda, but don't drink your calories. And so, cutting out, especially the sweetened, the French vanilla, the hazelnut, the pumpkin spice coffee mate creamer.
Yep.
That does, when you're drinking 6-8 cups of coffee a day, like I usually do when I'm really busy and I'm waking up early and trying to get stuff done before my workday starts, you're talking about literally hundreds of calories that are just falling off of my daily intake by this decision I made for completely other reasons,
Yeah. That's great.
So let's talk about what I wonder what are the most common resolutions that people make when it comes to trying to create new habits. I know trying to lose X number of pounds would be one of them. Trying to, lose a dress size, or get into a smaller waist size on your pants. But I would say it's a better resolution is usually, I'm going to take these steps instead of I'm going to reach this goal, right? I mean, if your resolution is to go to a size 30 in your jeans, and that's kind of where you start, that's really in the middle of the process. You're not focusing on the why, and you're not focusing on the how. You're only looking at the what, and that seems like it would probably be a recipe for disaster.
It could be. For sure. Because what happens is then you kind of, when the going gets tough and you're having a bad day, maybe you're sick or whatever, the last thing you really care about is, you fitting into your jeans, right? It's you're not focused on the right things. You're not, sometimes you need a little bit of that burst of motivation. And sometimes you need a really strong why. So, in those cases, it might be, hey, I got a cruise coming up and I want to look good, for when I take my shirt off, right. On the cruise. And that's something, you need to tie that to the actual habit that you're doing, and realize that it's more important to be consistent. So you want to structure the idea behind Tiny Habits is you want to eliminate motivation as much as possible, so that even on your worst day, when you have very little motivation to do anything, you can continue that tiny habit and kind of keep that streak going. So, that would be to really kind of break it down. And that's the principle of the book, is really show you that there is scientifically backed research that shows that it's the people who are consistent in terms of doing these habits, where a consistent habit turns into a behavior, right? So that consistency and the change in behavior, which also kind of results in a change in identity. And so you go from somebody who doesn't work out to somebody who does work out. And that really kind of, hey, that's what I do. Just like I get up and I brush my teeth every day. Well, I do some sort of physical activity every day because I'm somebody who exercises. And once that's really ingrained in you, it becomes very easy. There's a lot less motivation needed to do things, just the same way it doesn't take a lot of motivation to brush your teeth every morning.
That's very true. And that's what we're going to try to focus on, in the coming weeks. And I'm going to try to come up with with the best possible habit that I want to form. And we'll both work through the book and work through a little bit of what you do in your coaching practice to give people an idea of, what kind of, helping me come up with what the habit is that I want to generate and turn into a practice or a part of my life. And then, how often you and I are going to communicate about that, what kind of communication we're going to have, how you're going to help me figure out not just what I'm going to do, but how I'm going to do it and why I'm going to do it. And I think that'll be a fun process to see, if we could sort of manufacture a new habit to take hold in the next, I don't know, a little less than 60 days.
Yeah. So what I would say is, where you want to start is figure out, instead of what the habit is, you figure out what the goal you want to achieve is. Okay. And once you have that goal, then the next step really is figuring out that why and digging in and keep asking you, and what else, and what else, and what else, and really get to the root of that, of why you want to achieve that goal. And then the next step after that is really brainstorming all of the ways that you could achieve that goal. So that is the brainstorming of habits, right? Or of different behaviors that you could take on that would get you to that goal, with the why in mind and in your back pocket there. And then from those habits, we decide, okay, which one's going to be the most effective and which are going to be the easiest to implement. And we kind of do that like on a sliding scale. And we did that with the podcast as well, and as well. And so it's basically the same concept. So we're not, trying to take on too much. And then once we have an idea of, okay, what's going to be the most effective and what's going to be the easiest, what are you most likely to do? Then we can go ahead and figure out, okay, where does it fit into your daily routine, and how to make it so painfully, or I should say not painfully, but so small that is, incredibly small that you can do it when you're sick. You can do it after you come back from New York and you have a really bad cold, all these things. Sure. So you can try to kind of keep doing it on a daily basis, and you tie it, you anchor it to different parts of your life, of your current routine that you're already doing, where it makes sense. And the biggest thing that came out of BJ Fogg, who wrote Tiny Habits, Dr. Fogg, he's a Stanford researcher. The biggest thing that came out of his research is showing that it's not the number of times that you do a habit. It's not the length of time that you're doing a habit. It's how much emotion do you generate in terms of good feelings when you do that habit. How excited do you get? That is what determines what habits stick and what habits don't. And not how many times you've done it, not how long you've been doing it for. Sometimes they say it's, do it for 21 days. Sometimes people say you have to do it 60 times or 100 times. No, there's no real scientific research to back that up. It's more about the emotions that are generated when you do that habit. So for example, when you get a new phone and, and there's maybe some apps on there that you really want to use. And it might, be completely, you've maybe never used them before, but you get really excited and really happy. And, when you do use those, or there's a big reward for you when you're using those apps and you generate that emotions, it'll take you less than a day to figure out how to use them and probably turn them into a habit. And that's how, the big social media platforms, have, basically that's a principle that they use. The founders of Instagram actually were BJ Fogg's students. They use a lot of the behavior design and the habit forming, information that, BJ, talks about, Dr. Fogg talks about in the creation of Instagram in terms of making it simple and easy to use and very habit forming and almost addictive, right? So we all know that, that feeling, but people enjoy using it, right? So getting those likes, getting, all those things, followers, all those things generate good feelings and makes you want to use that and continue to use the application more and more. So those are all some basic foundations of tiny habits and how we can basically hack that by creating our own emotions and creating our own feelings around the new habits that we're doing.
Yeah, that's interesting that the prevailing conventional wisdom is definitely, it takes this many X days or months or whatever to form a new habit. But yeah, I suppose it really does come down to how important is it to you? How good does it make you feel to do that thing? And then you'll just keep doing it. I mean, that was one of the things they taught us in DARE when I was in middle school, was how, you only had to do crack cocaine one time for you to become addicted to it. And I suppose, if you do something one time and the dopamine hit is so amazing that it just blows your mind and you feel better than you've ever felt at that thing, then
potentially could
be a habit after one time.
Yeah. I mean, same thing for me, like, taking out the garbage, like, so, all right, I take out the garbage for 21 days every single day. Yeah. On day 22, and if I don't have to take it out, I'm not going to be missing taking out the garbage on day 22 by any means,
Right.
No. Right. I mean,
yeah, it's just a thing you do.
Where if I was doing crack cocaine every day for 21 days, day 22, I may want some crack cocaine, I'm not going to. So it's absolutely emotions.
Taking out the garbage is a thing you do because you have to do it. And if you're out of town for a day, you're not going to go down to the hotel and say, hey, I know this might sound weird, but I really need to take your trash out for you because I'm not home. I can't take out my own trash.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. It's unbelievable. So yeah, when you put it in extremes like that, you really see, and the good thing is though, in the book, he gives you a lot of celebrations. The idea here is the structure of creating a tiny habit is you have an anchor. So you anchor that behavior to something that makes sense in your current routine. You execute the behavior. That's the B, A, B, C. And then the C is the celebration. So you come up with something that makes you feel successful, something that makes you feel good because you did that behavior. And that actually can release dopamine. And that is something that helps you remember what you did. And also it makes you feel good. So it incentivizes you to want to do it again in the future. And you actually end up rewiring your brain circuitry when you do that. And the key really here, I think, is figuring out what a celebration is for you that actually makes you feel good, because there's a lot of them. I mean, everybody's different. So some people are good just doing like a fist pump and going, yes, I did it. Some people feel cheesy doing that. Some people are okay thinking about, all right, what is, my dog, or, my pet, my cat getting excited when I first walk through the door when I'm away. And that feeling, that really great feeling, you could think of that, something like that. And then you could, and if neither of really those work, then maybe you tie it to your bigger purpose, your why, and whatever you've come up with, that why, you kind of think of, hey, you've achieved that goal, you are achieving that why, that makes you feel successful, and that's going to be enough to really kind of start wiring in that habit.
All right, I like it. Yeah, I think what we'll plan on doing is going through the book chapter by chapter, as we like to do. But in addition to that, we'll just record the check-ins that you and I do on how we go through the process of figuring out what it is that I'm going to tackle and why I'm going to tackle that thing. And we'll just sort of almost make a little documentary out of trying to develop this habit and see how that goes and see if people respond to it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to do this with you for sure. So yeah, I think this is going to be great.
All right, cool. Before we break for today, got anything else to share?
Let's see what else. Going to Disney tonight and going to go see a Boys to Men reunion concert.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not. They're doing that at Epcot?
They are tonight. Yep.
Oh, I may have to see if I can boost myself up on drugs enough to pop in on that. That's I'm a big Boys to Men fan.
Oh yeah. So we'll be doing that. That should be fun. And I'm just gonna kind of relax and get organized for the week and get all my ducks in a row on Sunday before the big trip. So
have you been bullet journaling any lately?
I haven't, and I also was not 5-minute journaling for almost a month.
Oh, really?
And I just started again yesterday, and immediately I already felt better just doing it. And I don't know why. I get into a funk, and I
do too.
And you know what? I just forced myself to sit down and just write a couple of things out, and it wasn't even super happy or exciting or joyful. It was just me putting thoughts out of my head on paper, and I noticeably felt better.
Yeah, I've been not doing that as much as I should, and I want to get back into it. And yeah, that's one of the things we'll talk about when it comes to habits. Is I have this feeling like my only time to get stuff like that done that's important to me is early in the morning, and I don't have a problem waking up super early. I mean, if I decided, okay, to get done the things I need to do for my own mental and physical health, I need to wake up at 4:30 every day. No problem. I'll wake up at 4:30 every day. The problem is me saying no to the fun things I want to do the night before.
Yeah.
And still getting because if you decide you're going to wake up at 4:30 in service to your mental and physical health, then part of that decision is I'm also going to go to bed early enough that waking up at 4:30 won't negatively impact me. And that's where I really, being able to say, no, I'm not going to watch that show that starts at 9:00 because 9:00 or 9:30 is the time that I need to go to bed. Yeah. That's the tough part for me, is being able to, a why that is strong enough for me to wake up at 4:30 is fairly easy for me to find, but a why that is strong enough for me to say, no friend, no girlfriend, I'm not going to do that thing at 9:30 at night because I have to wake up too early tomorrow. That's real tough on me. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely see that. And I've fallen into that trap as well. And so one of the things we could talk about too is, down the road, in one of the later chapters, they talk about behavior change a little bit. And so maybe there are some ways that, we could make some slight modifications and not necessarily, eliminate everything, in the evenings.
Yeah.
And part of that too is, when we do the brainstorming about the different behaviors that can help you achieve that goal and that why, maybe there's something else that could be done. So maybe the journaling happens, in the evenings now instead of early in the morning.
Yeah, no, it's
and
possible.
So that's still getting done. And so that way, if you are sleeping in a little bit and you don't have time for that journaling, at least some of it got done the night before, perhaps, just not.
Yeah. This it very well could be a false assumption that the only way that I can squeeze these things into my day is if I wake up earlier. That may not be the case. It just feels that way,
And right. And that's the best part about just, doing this free form brainstorming where, if you had a magic wand and anything's possible, money's not an issue, time isn't an issue, you just get it out on paper. A lot of times, you're going to see stuff in there like, well, that's not possible. I don't have 26 hours a day, but it might lead you to a different type of solution that actually is possible. So it's not putting blinders on or restricting yourself or keeping yourself in a box when you're coming up with all these ideas. And that's one of the most important parts of the behavior design is. And the other piece here too, to keep in mind, is this should be behavior you want to do, It's not stuff that you don't want to do. It's never going to work because you can't rely on motivation long term. So the idea here is we come up with habits that you want to do. So, and you start doing them, this is all an experiment. If you start doing it, you don't like doing it, then you go back and you pick a different habit. Or what we can do is there's another technique where you look at, okay, what are the things that might be getting in the way of you doing this habit? You know, do you have the right tools? Do you have, a lot of, there's other pieces to look at it, right? You know, is the timing correct? You know, is the anchor correct? There's a lot of things that can be tweaked to make things actually work. So, he goes through all that in the book, and we'll definitely go through all that, on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, cool. Let's stop there for now, and we will continue this discussion in both our bonus episodes and our normal episodes going forward.
Sounds good, sir.
All right, talk to you later, Dan.
All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.